Hello. I just had to address a video I just watched by Vincent and about the whole beta male thing. Now I find it kind of dangerous to observe animals and then equate humans with behaviors from animals, whether the animals are horses or dogs, chickens, bees, sheep. Now, as a Christian, I don't mind the term sheep being used as people because it's a metaphor. It's a way of talking about Jesus being the good shepherd, and it's not meant in a bad way. It's meant more that we're protected by Jesus, not that we're stupid sheep. Okay. And the prepping community has taken that to mean, have started using the term sheeple for people that just follow, and sheeps do, they follow. And using the term on humans is not necessarily a good thing. A lot of people make choices, or oftentimes people just do. They're just reactive. They're just plugging along, going to their work, feeding their kids, whatever their schedule is. That's what they do, and they don't look beyond anything. They don't question. And some of them go to church, and they just, this is what life is. It's just those routines is life. I have always been a questioning person. Why do we do what we do? Why is it done that way? Can it be done a different way? I have annoyed so many teachers, but the good teachers that I've had encourage that part of my personality. And the ones that got annoyed, but were still smart teachers, directed me toward the library. Why don't you go look that up, Vivian? And I did. And I still do. And as much as I may respect someone and respect their knowledge base, nobody knows everything. Even if they're an expert on something, there's always new developments in every field, and we should always, and as expert as someone may be, they should look at different things. But going back to this whole beta male thing, I just have to totally disagree with all of it. I think we have personalities, we have what we have, and we can't sit there and go, for the nutshell, basically, beta males are not as desirable to women as alpha males are, is what I got from that video. And the definition for an alpha male was, just the assertive, good-looking, and his ring finger is longer than his pointer finger, and I'm just going, and they produce more sons and confident mothers, and it was just all sorts of stuff that I'm just going, horse pucky. This is not, it's just wrong in so many ways. People are attractive, whether they're nerds or jocks or smart or dumb. There's something attractive about most people, and there's also something repellent about most people. In my life, I've learned that people are just meeting me initially, most people used to be either they would love me or hate me, because I just grated on that nerve that they just couldn't stand. And was that my fault? I wasn't rude. I'm rarely rude to people. I'm rarely rude on purpose to people, let me put it that way. But I can't help it if they don't like me, because I remind them of somebody they didn't like, or someone that had hurt them in the past, or especially with guys, I don't submit. I've dated some, it was really funny, I got this attitude after I left my first husband, and I just became a royal you-know-what, and I dated some really fine looking men. And I wasn't even wearing makeup. I would hardly wear makeup, just my eyeliner. And I'd go out with these guys, and I looked good. I was in very good shape. I was taking better care of myself because I had to. I had a daughter at that point that was taken care of by myself. And the weekends my ex had her, I was out. I was not home. I couldn't stand to be home without her. And I was very lonely without her. So I was going out all the time. There were times where I went out with 3 different guys on the same day. No, I wasn't a slut. I wasn't sleeping with any of them. And I would go out with one, and most of the time I would try to get them to meet me with my friends, because I would let my friends weed them out. My friends were better at it. And yeah, they were all jerks. They would meet him and go, oh yeah, he's good looking, but what a jerk. And it never went anywhere. These are probably the alphas that were mentioned. Alphas come across as domineering, as assertive, when oftentimes I saw it as insecurity. When a guy has to assert himself to make his presence known, it usually means he feels so insecure that he can't sit still on his own either. I dated a guy that when I was away on the weekends, he had to come over and spend the time with my roommates. Oops. So, and that just annoyed me. I was like, what's wrong with you? He couldn't be by himself. Okay. So, that wasn't attractive. He probably was considered alpha by most people's standards, but that's not an alpha. He can't be by himself. And that just became, initially he was attractive. Initially he seemed confident. He said all the right things. He was very manipulative. But in the end, he was nothing but a big baby. And he was one that eventually proposed to me, and I just was like, oh my God, how can we be in the same relationship seeing totally different things? I didn't know. No, thank you. It was just bizarre on so many levels. And I think being the definition of alpha and beta that I'm hearing on that video, I can understand some of it, but I don't believe that someone is 100% one or the other. I think that in life we have to play those roles when it comes up. There's times that we have to step up and take a lead and be alpha and go, even if there's no one else involved, you have to step up in your own life and make decisions and go, I'm going to suck it up and take the consequences of this no matter what they are. I'm going to do this thing. And then there's times where we sit back and let other people roll over us benignly or malignantly, getting tongue-tied, and make decisions for us. And then we're still going to suffer those consequences, whether we want to blame a bad childhood, a genetic defect, society, women's lib, religion, whatever we want to put the blame on. In the end, we ultimately are responsible for where our life is and where it's going to be. I think we all need to make conscious choices, not be sheeple in any sense of the word, that when we say, I'm going to follow so-and-so, I'm going to let them, whether that's your boss or your spouse or your parent, whatever, and you realize why you're going to follow them and be okay with whatever the results of that, whatever the consequences of that decision is, that you made a conscious choice to say, I'm going to let that person choose this for my life. Or when you're going to step up and say, no, I'm going to do this with my life. No matter what anyone else is saying, I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to get out of this relationship, or I am going to sit back and learn to like myself by myself and be okay by myself until that situation is no longer that situation. I know so many people that hurriedly got out of one bad relationship into another bad one because they couldn't stand to be by themselves. And there's nothing worse than being alone when you're with somebody. And I experienced that for years in my first marriage. It was horrible. I had no respect for him, much less any love. And I was trying to put up a good front for my little girl at that time until I realized the best thing I could do was get away from him. So this whole alpha, beta, no, it doesn't wash. We are not dumb animals, and if evolution is taking you to that point where you think you're a dumb animal, then there's no hope for you. There is nothing you can do, until they start doing gene therapy for that condition you have. Then suck it up and just go the way you've been going. If you think you're more than that, if you think you're human, if you think you're destined, that you have a purpose in life, don't accept that label. Be who you want to be. Learn. If you don't know how, learn. There's nothing we can't learn. If you're not learning, you're dying. Literally, spiritually and physically, you're dying. So just go ahead and start digging your grave and go there. Otherwise, be all that you want to be. Go for it.